What's good, everybody? What's going on? Y'all are crazy. It's Stephen Qualls the second, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we are back for another episode of the Wright Quality Podcast. Friends, co-hosts, please remind the people of who you are.
Do they need a reminder though?
They don't. They should know by now. They really should. They really should.
Yeah, period. Ashley, write the first,
Ganger.
like Gail's doing.
Ganger, shouts out V's. Do I even need to introduce myself? Miguel Brown, currently education teacher, extraordinaire.
Crying.
All right, start off a little bit different. I'll intro us in our championship Sunday. We just saw a jam-packed weekend of a stellar one game of football and a stellar acting job from two other teams. But it's about the beatdown that the Saquon Eagles put down on the Jayden Commanders. Any thoughts on that game at all? Any notes to take from that? First run by Saquon was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that was insane. However, this obviously would have been more of a game if the Commanders could have taken care of the football. I think it was 3 turnovers and 2 of those totaling in touchdowns. So yeah, if they could take care of the ball, it would have been different, like those regular season games. But like you said, Saquon Eagles, he's made the difference for this Philadelphia team. I don't think they were anything to be scared of prior to his arrival. And now he's definitely waking up the competition.
Yeah, I've always known about Saquon, but then also transparently, this is the year I've followed football the closest. So just paying more attention to that storyline, especially with them being in the NFC. But the talk about this move from New York, to Philly, I think everybody wanted to see what he could do if he had a chance to have a postseason run or have to play for Super Bowl or play for a championship, and he's taking full advantage of this opportunity. And I completely agree, Ashley. He is the difference maker in Philly. This is not the same team without them knowing that they have someone who, I mean, he almost broke the rushing record during the regular season. Should have really chose not to. And then has just been dominant in the postseason so far. And I think the Super Bowl is going to be a big stage where, usually you're going and Patrick Mahomes is by far the most dynamic player on the field. And I'm not necessarily saying Saquon's in the exact same conversation. However, I think as far as impact, I think as far as how much of his game can determine, what the Eagles do, I think it should be even better than the first meeting. So, yeah, we shall see. Very interesting.
I just wanted to say about that game real quick. Showed that the Packers were the second best team in the division. Shouts out Byrov and shouts out Josh, the two biggest Eagles fans I know. Bird up, all that jazz. And it was a stinker of a game right after that first fumble. It was just like, yep, it's a wrap. Every time they touched it, they pretty much scored. They scored 7 out of their, 9 possessions? Am I mistaken? They pretty much every time they touched it, it was a touchdown. 55 to 20 something and change. Not really close. And then Jayden was all right, but it's just like at that point they were just overmatched. Like you could tell who was the better team at that point. Just wish that, great team like the Green and Gold could have seen them later, and we could have got a better game then because we definitely didn't let up 55 points. And if Jordan Love had a little bit extra time to cook in the playoffs, I think he would have been a little bit more set. But I think that knee injury definitely impacted him more than what he let on. But on to our acting job, a game I didn't watch because I knew the outcome. Chiefs, Bills. Tell me from people who watched the game, what did I miss?
Oof.
Another close Chiefs win in the last few quarters. Ending.
It was a good game. Like it was a really good game. Like it was the game you wanted to watch. I mean, people will talk about the refs and the officiating whatever. Like, I don't want to get into it, but for the sake of good football, like, it was a great football game.
They always put on a great story.
But
It's all
Oh,
I was like, oh my, oh no, it's crucial first time, but we know what's gonna happen. Taylor Swift, you don't want Taylor
oh,
Swift at the Super Bowl.
but here's the thing. Yes, you can talk about the Taylor Swift. You can say all of that.
You don't want to not have uh what is that show? What is that show that Travis Kelce is now leading that Kim K was just on?
I don't know.
FX horror TV show.
oh, American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. You got to have the ratings. Got to have them. So why
So
would they not have them?
okay,
Then
so
Kermit the Frog, one of the biggest entertainers of all time.
so Miguel, let me ask you, how much do you think Patrick Mahomes, like just actual greatness, plays a role in the Chiefs' success? Outside of the ratings and the other stuff that is a factor. Don't get me wrong. I don't completely disagree with you. But
He plays a part, and also their team construction is stupendous every year after year. I mean, they picked up D Hop. What is every other team in the NFL doing by just saying, you know what? You're what? They're gonna give AJ Brown next? Like, are we stupid? Do we just not like winning?
Now let's be real. D-Hop came from Tennessee, which was the team that let go of AJ Brown.
Yes.
So Tennessee is known for making crazy decisions like that. And D-Hop was thought to have been past his prime. Like his numbers weren't there in Tennessee.
It's like quarterbacks that get drafted to Cleveland. Are they supposed to have a good career there? No. It's like any quarterback that's drafted by the Bears. Are they supposed to have a good career there? No. So it's like,
hey,
trade him anywhere else.
Caleb gonna be all right. Dang, man.
I'll paint my nails and do that too.
Hey, yo.
So, but to answer your question, because you're saying that, oh, they gave him D-Hop. Is Mahomes the reason D-Hop's career has like been resuscitated?
You could have traded him to any other team. You could have traded him to the Ravens. His career would have been rejuvenated all over again. Who's passing to him in Tennessee? Name that quarterback.
Right.
DeMarcus Mariota still?
No.
Washington.
What?
It's the other dude. I know we play.
Yeah, the other is Andy Dalton. You live in where? Who is it? Tell me $1 million. Name me Tennessee's quarterback right now.
Levitt. Where's my mill?
Levy or Levitt, yeah.
No.
Levitt.
Will Levi's. Wrong, incorrect answer.
Levis. It's Levis.
Levis. His name is not Levi's.
It's not, yeah.
And
And it's not Levitt.
Marketing 2 more years. See him in 20 years being a backup for whatever trash team.
Right.
Will Levis, Mr. Give the Bears one of their only 4 wins. Anyways, he was supposed to make D-Hop a good wide receiver.
No, but that's not the point.
No, it's not that Mahomes is the great. He is one of the greatest QBs, if not the, at this moment in time. But I mean, like I've said, which you can't do this because you could do it with KG and Tim Duncan, but you give Lamar what Pat had from the start, from the jump, and not every other decrepit wide receiver that is actually dying in terms of where their career is. They gave him. Come on now. Name
There
the
was
last
a season.
Baltimore. It was OBJ. It was Nelson Aguilar.
No.
It was.
Miguel, I can't let you do that.
Huh?
I can't let you do that.
Well,
There was a
every
season
wide
where
receiver-
Marquez.
We got Lamar wide receiver. They were dying. They were at their precipice of
No. There was a season where Pat Mahomes had Marquez Valdez-Scantling as his wide receiver number 1.
Yes, and all you need
When Tyreek Hill left, it was Sky Moore and
Juju.
Villa.
And you're forgetting
A dying Juju.
Mr. Reckless Driver, Rashee Rice. He was there as well.
Oh my gosh, he was a rook.
And he was a star.
Rookie.
He was a star rook, stud. And then
He didn't
MVS has to catch one. MVS will drop 5 a game, but he has to catch one. Guess which one he caught? This one against the Ravens. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. That's the one.
Wait, okay. So are you saying that Mahomes shouldn't be given the credit that he's being given for their success?
All credit and more. He's a stellar player. He's fantastic. But it's just like the Spurs. If you're in that system and you're Kawhi and you start your career off with a Finals MVP and a championship, that's just how it started.
But
and then
Miguel, he's actually that good. Like he actually is making things happen in the most dire situations. Like I am not a KC fan. Do not get it. I am not a Chiefs fan.
I said he makes the best out of any situation that he's in. Pat is the man. Like I said, one of two.
But he was not drafted into a situation where like it was just star-studded talent all around. Name me like outside of Travis Kelce, because his production went down this season. But when Pat was drafted, give me a superstar.
Well, he didn't start right. It was Alex Smith. And then the year after.
Right, it was Alex Smith. But what I'm saying.
Then they had Travis. So it's like he was not gifted in an immaculate situation. He walked into and stepped into an immaculate situation where they're already built to win or they're built to be successful. And then he just became the number one because Alex Smith almost died.
Yo, you got it. But okay, all of that is true, Miguel. But do you see how in saying that, it's like you're also kind of saying, well, like you're saying he didn't build it brick by brick. You're saying he walked in and
not built it brick by brick. He got his checkup and he bought a nice condo on the east side. Did he have to build it on his own? Absolutely not. But did he decorate the house very well? Absolutely. His interior design is impeccable. I can't say anything about that. But is it his space? Did he make it brick by brick? No, he did not.
So he wasn't the developer, but he still made the most of it.
He got family money. He bought nice, and then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna increase this net worth. So he is built on it, but a bit of a nepo baby in my eyes.
Wait, so Miguel, if that's how you feel, then how do you feel about him in the GOAT debate or the GOAT conversation?
He's there. He's there. You can't take away GOAT status from GOAT status.
So you're saying he's a GOAT, but he is not the GOAT.
Who is the GOAT?
Who do you think the GOAT is? A lot of people consider it to be Brady.
I think that Tom Brady is the GOAT. If I had to go Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, I'm going Pat.
Right now?
Player for player in terms of talent.
Okay, so that makes me think about this. So Brady had a long career and he had stints where his success like accumulated over time. Like he started out hot, there was dead space somewhere in the middle of the career, and then he, kind of ended on the mountaintop, so to say. This is still extremely early in Mahomes' career. So even if they rattle off this three-peat and he's sitting on 4, what if he goes through this, let's just call it 3 to 5 year lull in his career where they're not getting it done? Is it too early to be kind of claiming it, or has he just done enough in this 6-year span to where really no matter what happens, what he did and the way he did it kind of solidifies him as the GOAT, especially if we're not just comparing the numbers per se.
The numbers game, that's going to be hard for him to beat regardless because Tom played till he was 42. But yeah, player for player, I mean, eye test, please. Personally.
I think if he can, let me see.
So
since becoming a starter, he's been to at least the AFC Championship every year. 7 straight years. He's been to the Super Bowl, I think 5 out of the last 7 years. Let me see.
Yep.
No, 5 out of the last 6. That's insane. And if he can pull off a three-peat, I think to your point, Steve, if he goes 3-4 years without getting to the Super Bowl at least, or getting to the AFC Championship, he still has to be talked about. Like, this is football. Like you're getting to at least the championship of your conference every year since you started.
It's like
It's been
LeBron.
7 years.
Bron status.
Yeah, it's literally like LeBronto. He owns Buffalo. He owns the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals got to that Super Bowl that one year, but he has done it consistently. Like you have to give him his flowers. You really do.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I am. They're old, but they're there.
So so with the run that Mahomes is on, what does it mean for all the other quarterbacks like in his era? So that's Josh Allen, that's Lamar, that's Burrow, that's I don't know who else is relevant. I mean, you could throw Hurts in there at this point. Um, yeah, I don't know who else is relevant, but considering all the QBs from his era, like what does it mean for those like a Josh Allen who is extremely talented, obviously, but will never be able to get the accomplishments needed to be thrown any further into the conversation, literally because of Mahomes.
That means there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks with either one Super Bowl ring or a lot of quarterbacks that are Hall of Famers and no Super Bowls. It's like, what can you do?
You just named a lot of Charles Barkley's, AIs, and Carl Loans.
Exactly.
Jordan,
Exactly.
Jordan,
Bunch of no rings.
which is
Yep.
crazy to think that that is what Mahomes is doing. And it's like you wonder, and actually you had mentioned this, like how long do they keep all these pieces together? Like how long can this foundation or this core of Mahomes, Andy Reid, like Kelsey is obviously on the tail end, but like how much longer can they actually keep the core around to stay relevant enough and have the keys enough to actually be a threat to get to the Super Bowl every year?
I think as long as Mahomes is playing, Andy Reid is coaching, just like Belichick and Brady. And as long as you have those two that know how to lead and run organizations, you have a great chance. Like it could be the next 10 years because Mahomes signed that massive, like $500 million deal. They ride out that contract together, guaranteed.
Is Tyreek running back?
He wants to,
It wouldn't
but
surprise.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. But it's like the success that they've had without him. Now, of course, you accept a Tyreek Hill. But if he was mad about not getting money before, and you see now we can be successful without you, what makes him think that he'll get that type of money now? Especially Xavier Worthy. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but he is a beast, and their games are similar. Fast, downhill, wide receiver can get you those deep balls. Do we need another deep threat? How bad do we need Tyreek Hill? Tyreek, are you willing to accept this cut? If not, we don't need you.
Fair.
Very fair. Yeah, we shall see. But boy, is he making the case. My God. My God.
Talking about generational QBs, should we talk about Jayden Daniels' run? I know we talked on Eagles, Commanders. It was kind of a stinker, but he has definitely had a banger of a start to his career. Personally, as somebody that loves to watch him, I thought he had a great year and got to a point where it's like you just got beat by a better team. Got to the divisional in his first year as a starting QB. And to see how they play in terms of going for fourth down and, him being so composed, like how do we see his career playing out?
There's a bright future in Washington that I don't think people necessarily expected them to be on the cusp of right now. That is now they are now in the present of not necessarily their window, but like their window is him. So like obviously they now know what they're working with. And luckily for them, right? When we had Josh on, we were talking about like the state of the QB and how a lot of them get screwed over from having the opportunity to develop. He's obviously ahead of the game. But now Washington's in a position to where, okay, we just need to make sure we get him weapons and make sure we're good on the other side of the ball. So I hope he doesn't run into he may run into some type of slump because he ended on such a high this season. So there may be this aspect of kind of like what happened with Jordan Love this year. Granted, that was partially the injury, but if the numbers don't look the same and if they don't like get back to the conference championship next season, people might start looking at that as, well, he has to either get where he was or go further. But nonetheless, all in all, within the next 5 years, like I don't know if there is, and I might be missing it right now, but is there a bona fide number one QB in the NFC? Like, undoubted number one?
No, I think the NFC, as far as quarterbacks, is pretty much wide open. Like, I don't even think people really consider Jalen Hurts to be that number one QB, regardless of how successful his team is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, that's wide open.
So if it's wide open, you talking about somebody who, at least as long as he's putting up these numbers and we're imagining he's only going to get better, within 5 years, he could potentially be the best, if not one of the best, like bare minimum, quarterbacks in the NFC. Like top 5, top 3, even maybe. So ceiling's high. Ceiling's really high for them and him.
Yeah. I The thing is, though, I don't know. This might sound weird, but I want to protect him so bad because I really don't think that they're going to get to another conference championship next season. I'll genuinely be as surprised as I was this season if they were able to. But I do see him having maybe like a CJ Stroud moment where you have this great rookie season, and then the next season, you still get to the playoffs. You're still pretty successful, but the narrative around you is you're not doing what you did last season, and that's very unfair. And I feel like as a young quarterback, that can probably like really impact, how you approach the game. So I don't want that to happen to Jayden. I'm definitely rooting for him, and I do feel like at the end he'll be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, like you said. But I don't want that narrative on him.
Fair. Keeping on the quarterback tip. How many passes does Josh Allen get? No pun intended.
No, he doesn't get any. And it's not his fault. Like there's no passes to give. He's a victim of a generational run. That's really all it comes down to. Like, we can't, especially after this game, you can't say that in any of the games, you can't say that he never rose to the occasion. So it's never been his play. It's just been he's typically going against somebody who's just better or who has his number, whatever the case is. So, I don't think anybody's looking to give him passes, but I don't know how much we can really fault him or be critical of him either.
So, did we realize in 2022 on their way to the Super Bowl, the Bengals also beat the Bills
Did not
in
think
a divisional round? So, I feel bad for Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. It's not just Patrick. You couldn't get past the Bengals. And I'm not saying that the Bengals weren't good that season, but you've had ample opportunities to get it done. And I feel like we're so fixated on it only being Patrick Mahomes that has stopped him or his team. It's also been Joe Burrow. He's also done it. So, like, as far as the Josh Allen chatter, what else do you need? Like, you've got James Cook, great running back. You've had Stephon Diggs, great wide receiver. You've had Gabe. You've got a great tight end. What other pieces do you need to get it done?
Yeah, I think you're right. And just a segue, just throwing one more topic in there that wasn't on the docket. A friend of mine brought up the fact that there should have been a third QB in the MVP discussion. And I want to think nice, long, and hard about who that may be. Do you guys have who you think should have been in that discussion? I think they're already in there, but I don't think that they have a real shot at winning it.
A quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Pat?
So it's nope. Who are the MVP finalists?
Lamar, Josh, and Saquon.
So yeah, QB their team was just mentioned. Joe Burrow.
I was hearing better.
Even the stats, what, 4 losses by 3 points or less. How many games with 300 yards and like close to 4 or 5 TDs? A lot of those, though. And they're a couple of close losses away from him possibly being in that discussion. And I told him, well, that was by force. They were losing games and they needed to, but also they let up 30 a game. So can you fault a guy like Joe Burrow for their team's lack of success when he put up some pretty generational numbers?
Can't fault him, but I also don't think you can force him into the MVP conversation because I think the win loss has to account for something. And I mean, not saying that his stats aren't ridiculous either, because I think that was a large part of the chatter was that, yeah, they're losing, but they're losing by these small margins, and he's still playing great. Like it's the Aaron Rodgers argument. Like he's playing great, but they don't have defense or whatever the case may be. It just comes with it though. Like, like if it's not enough to put you in there, it's just not enough. But I don't think he should be faulted for the team's lack of success. And I don't necessarily think he is, but yeah, it's always a thin line with that one.
And not getting to the playoffs too, I think that really hurts. Like not a appearance at all, not even wild card. That's a hindrance.
Fair. That is all for my football talk.
Moving on. Okay, so in the W, we've had some blockbuster moves in free agency. We're going to start light here. Brittany Griner decided to sign Atlanta Dream. She's leaving the Phoenix Mercury and joining Ryan Howard. I see, you got to stay on your toes. We starting light.
Yes.
No, what do y'all think about BG and ATL?
I'd like to know why the departure from Mercury.
I think maybe starting fresh, starting new, it's a lot of speculation that Diana Taurasi is retiring before the start of next season. So could be joining another bona fide guard in Ryan Howard, who's a beast. You've got Alicia Gray in Atlanta, who can really dish the ball. So it's a good setup for her, I think.
I think that's a win within like the last couple years from Russia to Phoenix to Atlanta. I think those are all progressions in location, and I think that she'll find a home in Atlanta for sure. I think that's a good team comp. I think next to Ryan, I think that's actually a pretty good pairing. And yeah, I don't know. I think that her time as like the one of the faces of the W has came and gone, and now can she just play a serviceable role on a championship level team? We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be juicy.
Does this move make the Dream? I'm not super familiar with the roster, so I'm asking, does this move make the Dream, maybe not contenders, but does it make them more of a threat? Would they be seen as more of a threat around the league because of this move?
Certainly elevates them. They once had Monique Billings in like that center role. Now she's leaving, signing with Golden State actually. So I think it gives Ryan Howard someone around the rim that she can count on. And I think that ultimately helps elevate her game too. She's a playmaker. So having someone she can count on down low obviously opens up a good two-man game.
Good low action.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what y'all want to go next? Y'all trying to go Vegas? Y'all trying to go Mercury?
Let's go Mercury since we just left them.
Yeah, let's go Mercury though. Vegas.
All right. So Alyssa Thomas, formerly with the Connecticut Sun, was dealt in a deal recently, landing her with the Phoenix Mercury. A notable name from Phoenix involved in the trade, Natasha Cloud. She's now landing in Connecticut. So what do y'all think about that move?
I think the guard play got deeper for Connecticut. And I think they're definitely planning on losing Diana in Phoenix then if they're bringing in Alyssa.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think Alyssa paired with Kalia Copper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane. That's a lot of attitude. That's a dog mentality. They obviously know what their identity is going to be. And it's like carrying on that Diana Taurasi legacy, like that I don't give a F legacy on the floor. And I love it. I really do. I like that.
Yeah. will no longer be the assist leader to her wife. So goodbye, synergy. Hello,
Well,
attitude.
Bonner is meeting with two teams. Of course, Phoenix being one. I'm not clear on the other right now, but there is a chance that we get them back just down in Phoenix.
Did I love my wife? I love my wife.
I'm so weak.
Not trying to be
Wait,
funny.
actually, what is Sophie's role in Phoenix? I know that she's there, but I don't know if she had been injured or hadn't been playing as much from like their from like a couple of years ago. But what's her role on
Mhm.
now?
Yeah, I mean, she still had a similar role. Was the production there? Not as much as it has been. So yeah, she's still down there. We'll see how she's able to mesh alongside those two. But with Natasha Cloud gone, though, she might become one of those primary ball handlers.
Interesting. Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
just like the guard play for Connecticut now. Dejanay and Natasha running that top two. And it's pretty nice.
Fire. And then last but not least, of course, Kelsey Plum being dealt to the LA Sparks in a deal that included Jackie Young coming from the Seattle Storm to Vegas. Is
That
there a
hurts.
winner?
Wait, it wasn't was it Jackie or was it Jewel?
Jewel Lloyd. I'm sorry. Jewel Lloyd. Jackie Young is already there. Jewel Lloyd. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it
Uh,
hurts. Like in terms of like the emotion and soul of those teams. I feel like Kelsey was definitely one of the hearts of the Aces, and then Jewel, she's a hooper. So I don't know. That's tough because now they're missing that. I I say missing that scoring punch lightly because what does Kelsey look like in LA? What does Jewel look like in LAS? But LAV, yeah, I don't know. This is that was a hard trade to digest when I heard it. It doesn't make sense in my head.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go
Or out
ahead.
of the blue at least. Let's just say random. But I was more surprised at the names because I just would have assumed that it seemed like Las Vegas was pretty like steady with their roster. I didn't expect them to make a big move with one of their core players. I mean, talent wise, I don't know if it's considered an upgrade or where people kind of rank Jewel Lloyd versus Kelsey Plum just from a talent perspective and what that does for the roster. But I do think like the heart and soul aspect will be a big adjustment for the team. But yeah, it was a bit more shocking than anything. But I don't know. Hopefully this isn't like a Cat Julius Randle kind of situation. Where there's like one clear winner and like, one team that now has just, you know, messed up their stock essentially. I don't know though. I know that's all yet to be seen, but just thoughts.
It's just kind of weird to me, from the standpoint of having Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, and now Jewel Lloyd. And yeah, you took away Kelsey Plum. You also take away Kate Martin. What does this rotation look like?
Okay,
It just sounds Kate Martin is in Golden State.
Mm.
yeah, I don't know.
So it's just like weird.
I feel like they're missing playmaking guards. Like, not that like any of them can't be a playmaking guard, but that was Kelsey's role. Like that was like, it made it easier for everyone else to be like, all right, yeah, like I'm gonna be spotting up, I'm gonna be getting this shot, I'm getting that shot. I feel like she got people in their places. Not to say that Asia Wilson isn't the heart and soul of that team because she definitely is, the nucleus. But in terms of the floor general, I would say emotional leader of that team from when I saw them play. I'd say Kelsey was that in terms of getting them organized and get them set. So that is the only thing that concerns me about that trade. For the Sparks, I think they're getting someone that is going to get them into their sets a little bit better. Jewel's definitely the scorer of the two, correct? Like Kelsey's got a strap, but like Jewel will look for a shot more. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Kelsey looks like offensively for the Sparks. I think that's going to be interesting. But she's got what? A healthy Cameron Brink coming back, correct?
Exactly.
So
So
that'll
that's
be
what I was.
nice to have her run. That's like their Chris Paul Wemby dynamic. I feel like they're going for like a vet guard that's going to be able to get Cameron good looks. And do the Sparks get a pretty decent draft pick this year? Or wait, sorry, has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this. And then don't forget about Rakia Jackson. She's also there.
Yep.
Lethal score. So
So
yeah.
yeah, I think the Sparks win that trade just based off of like definition of roles. But if the Aces can figure out how to place Jewel Lloyd in there and they just have like, 4 out just sparking it and then Asia's cleaning boards and going right up and it's less of a jump down action, it could work.
Could be a win-win. Very well could just be a win-win. So we'll have to see. Wow, next season should be interesting. Time to lock in.
Yep.
Yeah. But to the NBA now, finally. Yeah, we're getting into the nitty-gritty now. This is the part of the season that I actually like to, well, I'm always paying attention, but this is part of the season where everybody else started paying attention and things, as Ashley would say, start to get juicy. But our original talk on the Jimmy saga got lost in the enters of webs, unfortunately. But this saga has taken a turn that I don't know if anybody expected it to get to this level. I mean, I guess if you consider Jimmy and Pat Riley and the time that has passed, then maybe it's not that surprising, but just trade this man at this point because I'm trying to figure out what the holdup is. It's very clear what needs to happen, but yeah, thoughts on what has come to be known as the Jimmy Butler saga in Miami.
We are the holdup because they want to get that
Us?
done with Beal. With I forgot what other team was in there.
The Bucks.
Chicago is in there, I think.
And they want to get us in there. They want us to ship Chris, but no.
Miguel, he's gonna have to. He's gonna
let him go.
Do you want to hear the thesis from a Bucks
Please.
fan? All right. Giannis does not want to let Chris go.
He's gonna have to if he wants to ring.
He does not want to. And here's why we should not as well. Personally, I know there's people on the Jimmy train. De'Aaron Fox was the only name that I was like, and Levine, I kind of was like, in terms of if they were to come here. But if it were for Beal, why would we ever do that trade?
I agree with that. I don't want Beal, but I don't think Beal
said he would take out his no trade clause if he went to Milwaukee.
Is that who it would be for if y'all entered?
They said that we would either get Beal or Levine. And I think Jimmy has been like rumored, but I don't think that he would come here either. So between Beal and Levine, I would take Levine, but I'm still reluctant. Steve, you have something to say before I get into my thesis?
Yes, more so I would say I would too also want Levine over Beal, but I think Jimmy is for sure going to either Philly or Golden State.
Philly.
Not Philly, Phoenix. He's going to Phoenix, Golden State. Beal, if Beal doesn't want to go to a cold weather city, I think I saw that, then it makes sense for Beal to go to Miami. I just don't think they can do that straight up, which is where Levine comes into play. But if Chicago's not getting anybody, then they're either just blowing it up or it's not going to happen. So, I don't know where that 4-team trade goes, but unless Chicago's going to take Middleton, but maybe that goes into your thesis, which I'm very intrigued to hear because make sense.
All right, so granted, defensively not a plus. A step slow from old Chris Middleton of old, for sure.
Couple steps.
But offensively, he is our identity. He is our person to slow it down by force and to get good looks for guys. Continue. Yes. Objection.
He does not. I see what you mean when you say our identity. I think he was during the championship run. Now that Giannis and Dame have really started to figure this out, I think that is becoming more of our identity. And I think that there are players that can do what Middleton does a little bit better at this point, and they're less injury prone, or they're just younger.
Who is he? Who are we referring to?
Defense, correct?
You said what? Middleton.
Who are we referring to? Who were you guys referring to when you said he is our identity?
Chris. In terms of being able to make the right IQ pass, to actually throw a lob to Giannis, which Dame is starting to figure out how to do now. Actually work the high-low with Brooke. read our offense and make the right read. Like when we don't have anything going offensively, he is someone that we can still go to and we can get a good bucket, whether it's an ISO midi from him or he will initiate and see a roller because he's got the size and he's played with these guys for so long. It kills continuity. It kills any team chemistry that we have going into the second stretch of the season. Our big three, when they do play all together, they win games. And you can see in the advanced metrics that they do play the best basketball. And Chris is out there with Dame and Giannis. I would rather ship out pieces like Bobby, Pat, Marjan, any pick that we have that we always waste every year in terms of getting a serviceable defender back. And I believe that we lose out on any of the names mentioned, not named Levine, because Beal's production is awful right now. Jimmy, we don't know if we're going to have him for a half a year, a day, 2 years, a day. Like, we don't know what that looks like. Zach is the only viable option out of those names that would give us what we're looking for in terms of an offensive threat and someone that isn't a defensive plus but has the tools to be a defensive plus in this rotation. That is the only person that I would not be heartbroken over because every other move would be not even a lateral move. We're moving backwards. And we might as well play him out through his contract and then go develop Ajax into that next role player that is able to play with Giannis. And I think the only way you do that is if you keep a guy like Chris. That's why the NBA is losing recipes in terms of rotation guys not learning how to play good NBA ball because they don't have good vets ahead of them. So why are we going to trade him for Bradley Beal, who's got no winning record in his entire NBA career? And Jimmy Butler, who goes to every team and blows it all up.
Because albeit everything you're saying being factually true, yet very biased, he's our best trade asset. One.
They said he's dead salary. They said that he is dead trade salary. Chris Middleton.
I'm sure that he is, but it's also killing us too. So my question to you would be, I don't knock Chris as a player. I just think that the decline is extremely hard to ignore right now. And even though like we can talk about him getting back in shape, we can talk about him getting the reps. And I believe that he will up his play in the playoffs. I think he's shown to do that even last year when he wasn't healthy. However, because of maybe that defensive part, I just don't think the player that he is now and the role that we need him in will get us there. And the Bucks have to make a decision. Do we roll with that and take that chance maybe? Or do we try to set ourselves up for the future and just get a younger, somewhat version of him? So I agree, no Beal, no Butler, but if we're talking Levine, there's a lot of other players' names who aren't really on the market, but not prototypes, but like other versions, variants, if you will, of Middleton. I think if it's on the table, we should go for it, and I think we should be open to parting with Middleton more than you seem to feel. Is all I'm saying.
Then I see Chris Middleton for Jeremy Grant, which is what are we thinking? I got Chris Middleton for. Oh my goodness!
We get Grant, bring Williams with him. If we get Grant, bring Robert Williams with him.
Robert? Okay.
And I will accept that. If we got to send Middleton and Bobby to get those two, I would hate it, but I feel good about it.
I don't know about turning Bobby into Robert Williams, although defensively.
You won't turn it. You're not going to turn Robert into Bobby, but you're getting big man depth. And
yeah.
Am I here?
So what's going on with you?
We're talking about trading for Robert Williams, Mr. I can't stay healthy for not one season since he's been in the league. And we're talking about trading an injury-prone player that can't seem to get healthy. Are we losing our minds?
Who plays 82 games anymore?
Middleton is a prone player as well at this point.
Robert Williams is in his athletic prime and can't stay healthy. And we're talking about shipping Chris Middleton away.
So Middleton can get us a championship still. That's how you feel.
I think, yeah, if we had our full nucleus last year, we could have made a run for it last year. Like, he single-handedly almost won us 2 games. It's just that everyone else that was on the court was Patrick Beverly, who was on the court last year. No Giannis, no Dame.
Can it happen this year? Can it happen this year? We're
Yes.
seeing him play. We can't make the argument that he missed the majority of the season. Like,
yes, we still can. Because if it's play, like you said, playoff Middleton rise to the occasion and play. I mean, you saw it. You saw it, Steve. He single-handedly put them in position to win those 2 games. And we had Patrick Beverly and Mr. I can't hold defense to save my life in Detroit. I dated Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
easily.
Malik Beasley. Like, the person that can't hold defense, that is the trade bait, is Bobby Portis.
Okay.
That is our trade bait.
Okay, so you're saying either stay put or the only person you want to see brought in is Levine.
Out of that hypothetical, and now De'Aaron Fox is in the market, and they said that Milwaukee is a prime market for him to go to as well. But I don't know how we get that to work.
You definitely gonna have to give Bobby up if Fox was to come.
100%. And Bobby, Chris, Brooke, like literally, like, oh.
But so you can't wait. So how you gonna deplete the roster for De'Aaron and leave us with no big?
I'm just saying, if we were trading for De'Aaron, that's what we would have to do. I don't want to because we already struggle with depth, but that's what I'm saying would have to get the job done.
Right,
what I'm saying is there are more tradable assets on our team that don't play defense, that don't play, that would yield.
Tradable if they aren't playing. How are they tradable if they aren't getting no tick?
They're more tradable because they're a young, healthy body that is not dead salary, as they described Chris Middleton. Because what would you rather have on your young and growing team? An older, past his prime scorer that isn't a prime defender, or a 20-something-year-old, who knows, type of guy in terms of what Marjan, a condo developer in Pat Connaughton, somebody that's going to beat somebody up on the other team in Bobby Portis. At least you know what you're getting on that end. But with Chris, a lot of those other teams don't see that as a viable trade option because it's either in win now mode, but your team probably doesn't need a Chris Middleton on your team, or you're rebuilding. And what do rebuilding teams want? Young, healthy, available players and condo developers.
I think just because he's not easy to trade doesn't mean that we shouldn't be open to it. So
I don't disagree with that either. But if our available return is Bradley Beal, why are we even ever having this discussion?
I also would like to make the argument that if you're trying to argue that like Middleton is either 1, way better than Bradley Beal, or 2, that Beal potentially in a new scene or role that is not behind 2 ball hogs at that. Well, Dame and Giannis are ball hogs, but nonetheless, the Bucks are closer than the Suns to being contenders.
Absolutely.
And so I think that could potentially have an impact for Beal if that was a situation. Doesn't mean I'm the biggest fan of him coming, but I don't necessarily think Middleton going out and Beal coming in is also that much of a backward step.
Personally, I see where you're going with that, but we're also talking about a 32-year-old that has never won anything, that is also past his prime, who is never known for his defense.
So you saying shipping out a 34-year-old for a 32-year-old is pointless?
If you're losing continuity and chemistry, you're losing a lot in that battle.
You did it once with Drew already.
How did that work out our first year?
Just saying. Just say if we go play the game, we might as well at this point.
At the same time, first round of the playoffs, we don't have our trade asset that we traded for and our Giannis. So it's like it's a wash regardless. So we don't really know the outcome of that trade until we get a full healthy nucleus and see what it runs. So I say this year we see our full healthy nucleus. If it doesn't work and we're ass out and Chris gets his ass buzzed by everyone else, so be it. Sorry.
Fair.
But I'd rather live with that than die not knowing. Because the last time when Giannis was out and we needed somebody to step up to go get us one, who got us there? We sound so ungrateful. Thank you, Chris Middleton.
Oh, good Jesus. Okay, well, yeah. Honestly, that's really been all the trade deadline chatter anyway. It's really been Jimmy and what teams are going to be involved. So we'll see what happens. But I still think it's going to end up being a crazy week. Like, even if nothing happens before the weekend, Monday to Thursday is going to be insane. Thursday's going to be ridiculous. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Mhm.
but uh, are we intrigued by the MVP race this year? Going into All Star break, it's pretty much Shea versus Jokic. I think Giannis is in there, but really,
Show me.
I'm
Show me. There we go.
crying. But it's really just Shea and Jokic. Jokic is putting together a crazy statistical season. While Shea has gotten better every season, and his team is getting better every season, largely due to his all-around impact on the team. Jokic has already won it 3 times. Um, but the numbers are there. The team's success is there, also in large part due to him. How are we looking at the MVP race now? And is Jokic getting to the point where just because he's doing crazy things every year, he keeps running away with it? Or is it supposed to go to another player who's having a similar impact and just not making necessarily the history, that Jokic is at this point? Because I feel like that's low key what it's coming down to.
Hmm. Voters fatigue. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't, maybe it's that. Maybe we just keep giving it to Giannis because he constantly does things that we just didn't think were possible. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not intrigued by this MVP race. I felt like Shea deserved it last season. He didn't get it. So maybe this is the season that he finally does. I don't know. But it feels like if he does get it this season, what did he do this season that he didn't do last season? Outside of like the seeding and everything. Because,
Hey,
yeah.
uh, great
No.
question. Great.
Nothing.
They're giving him his DeMar Hamlin moment.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
I mean, why is he in comeback player of the year voting this year?
Is he?
Is he?
Yes. What are we doing? What are we doing, NFL? What
It's
are we
like when
doing?
Ja.
It's like they were like, we messed up. We gave it to, guess who they gave it to last year? $1 million, if you can remember, who got comeback player of the year last year for the NFL.
Uh,
Colts.
so what?
Is it the Colts? I believe it was the
The
Colts.
Flacco?
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
They gave it to Joe Flacco, and then they're like, we messed up. Got to get DeMar in there this year. So yeah, I think Shea's in there this year. Say you give it to Shea before Wemby takes all of them for the next 10 years. So you might as well give it to him now. Because then it's it's going to go Shea, Ant, Wemby, and then whichever.
Is
Uh,
Ant the MVP?
they got to get as many of those young guys in there as possible. They might slip Luca in there at one point. So it's going to go Shea, Luca, Ant, and for the last 15 years of Wemby's career, all MVPs across that board. Yeah, give it to somebody. Give it to somebody that's not Wemby. That I don't care. Jokic or Shea. Last year they messed up. Give it to Shea this year. But here's what's going to happen. You ready to hear me? Twilight Zone. Jokic is going to be the leader in MVP voting up until April 1st.
I can
March.
see that.
Marchish.
Okay.
And then Kendrick Perkins, boom, out the dark. They're only give it to him because bow. And then boom, Shea's out. Shea's out in the lead. He takes it. Jokic ends up with like a bunch of third place votes. Voting's gonna go Shea, Giannis, Jokic. Shea gets MVP. Canadian market skyrockets. Might not be Kendrick Perkins, but people are gonna be like, I don't know. I think Shea's having a fantastic year. There's gonna be no rhyme or reason as to why they're backing him, other than just that they're tired of voting for Jokic. So that is my future take.
Period.
What's crazy is all of Jokic's numbers from last season are up.
Better.
Mhm.
And what Denver is what, fourth or fifth? Like
Yeah.
the numbers he's putting together, and he's the reason they're even like doing well, but also he is the reason that we are having a much different conversation around Russell Westbrook. And I am happy that we are having this different conversation. Gail, do you remember us talking after Russ left the Lakers and we were like, what happens? Like, what happens to his career? Like, we really don't know. Like, what team
I
needs?
love this for Russ. I love this for Russ so much. Like as much of as I've like talked about better point guards, better careers, all that stuff. So happy for him because he deserves this. Like he's only been a hardworking guy that granted has made mistakes over his career in terms of plays, possessions, X, Y, Z, whatever that is. He's always played hard and he's always been a great teammate everywhere he's gone. And I think that this is the time that he's being repaid for that. Like he's actually getting the fruits of his labor where he doesn't have to gut it out and be the man, but he also doesn't have to be this rotting on the bench six man where it's like find your role. It's like no, he gets to play hand in hand with Jokic and contribute to winning basketball. So I think that's actually really dope to see.
Yeah, Jokic unlocking him is one of the greatest stories of the season. But I think this will be very fun come to playoffs as well because man, I can only imagine like Russ has something to play for. Like like Jokic gonna get you at least out the first round, damn near. That's how good he is. So for Russ, I'm like, man, they probably like, oh, Russ, like, hey, man,
This is changing the narrative for him in terms of his playoff, success.
So it's gonna be interesting to see like an inspired and like a truly motivated Westbrook, like with something in reach, with a player like Jokic. If Murray can be playoff Murray, then I mean Denver. I mean, they definitely ain't gonna get surprised like they did against Minnesota last year. At least not by a Minnesota. I mean, some of the young teams are looking really good, but it's all about matchups. And I mean, Denver does have the experience, so we shall see. But yeah, the Russ story is great. And I'm glad that is happening. But yeah, last but not least, they've named the All-Star starters. We don't know exactly what this game gonna look like, but yeah. Thoughts on these starters, thoughts on the first 10 that are in.
I think LaMelo should have been a starter. He's
Ooh,
injured.
thank you. Someone's like, it's cute for like fun, BS ball. They don't matter, but LaMelo, I think, would have been on there instead of who?
Who's starting? It don't even matter.
Jalen Brunson, B. Mitch, Giannis. Who else?
Hit them and
Instead of Donovan.
Easily. He's only there because they're good. I don't see the hype in him. I've never seen the hype. Granted, great player, but all-star starter.
Yeah, I see the hype.
I mean,
I was gonna say I see
I see the hype now. Let's not be insane.
No, in terms of all-star starter, it's like this gives me Kyle Korver making it over Brandon Knight all over again. Granted, different stakes.
He's a relatively popular player though. Like I think he's always
True.
I don't think he's more popular than LaMelo. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying they're good, and I think he's popular enough to where the votes were helped because they're talking about the Cavs more, and I think that's where a lot of the votes came from.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to think like everybody get more fun.
Like Jalen Brunson had a better year last year, and then I feel like this is like their makeup. Like, oh, we forgot to get you in. Like Dame is having a better this year than last year, and got snubbed from starting. And then
Honestly, you could put Dame in over Mitchell, honestly. And I get that honestly because his numbers aren't great.
Trae Young has been in there before.
Trae Young gets snubbed well, as a starter, that's hard to say. But
he got snubbed from the whole team last year.
Yeah. So
but it's like he deserved like Trae's been balling, LaMelo's been balling. I don't see how Dame's been balling, where it's like those two guards where it's like
Dame is like I think Dame is like 11th in scoring and 9th in assist.
It's like it's right there.
It's actually pretty crazy.
He's number 1 in assists. LaMelo has had a healthy year, and that's all LaMelo needs to be an all-star starter, in my opinion. And then in the West,
almost 30. He's averaging 28 points per game.
Come on. Come on. And then in the West,
One-legged threes. Like,
where's Ant and where's Wemby?
Also, Cat is the other starter in the East. I also
It's Cat. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah. New York gets two. Like, give me.
Milwaukee got 2 last year. Just let them have a story. Let them have a name.
no,
It's New
well,
York. It's New York.
I'm okay with Brunson. I just really feel like LaMelo should be starting. And if it was over anyone, it's over Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, they do the backcourt, front court thing,
And
but
then I would take Trey over Jalen Brunson.
As a starter,
And leading the league in assists ain't easy.
it's not.
In Atlanta.
right. Chris Paul got how many All-Star votes because of, dazzling passes? Not saying he can't score, but we know Chris Paul is the point guard.
Yeah, and like, who's more fun watching All-Star game? Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, or Trey Young and LaMelo Ball?
Definitely Trey Young. But they're not. They're not doing. That's not what it's based off of. If that's what it was based off of, like if they actually marketed,
That's what it needs to be based off of. We don't watch it anymore.
Are we voting on people? Are we, like I said, Rudy Gobert, player, All-Star starter? Who's watching that? Give us the fun guys. Like, anyone that's voting, anyone that has a vote, I get it, ethical basketball. But at the end of the day, what are we here to watch? Give me Ant in the starting lineup. Give me the 7'4" guy that's pulling from half court. He's not an all-star starter. What? Steph, I love him. Over Ant? This is on a ladder. I can grab the ladder and pull myself closer. I'll push myself away. But are you kidding me? Wemby not being an all-star starter is terrorism.
terrorism is insane.
Yeah.
But terrorism is wild. I will say,
Not being a starter is domestic terrorism.
Okay, well then this is going to come down to voting because we know what this is based off. This is obviously fan voting. That's why Steph's in, respectfully. That's why KD is in. Like, this isn't being voted on based off of making the game entertaining. Because you could argue that numbers wise, Jokic obviously has better numbers than Wemby. Like, outside of blocks, like, that's it. But Jokic's numbers are there. So depending on what people are voting off of, that's determining this starting five. Wemby's gonna make it. He should, at least. He definitely should be a reserve. Yeah, they're gonna have to change the way voting is if the starters are gonna reflect making the game fun.
NBA, hear me out. Hear me out. One time. Encourage people to vote for the most exciting player. Like, vote for who you think is the most electric. Like you have to advertise it for that. Don't just be like, yeah, like, vote for your all-star and run up the votes and it's double vote day and shut up. Just say, who do you watch highlights of? Who is a clip no matter when they play? Vote for who you think the most electrifying player is, full stop. And then we go from voting from there. Like, let them decide, like, oh, yeah, I want to see, like, a game of Obi Toppins and Anthony Edwards and LaMelo's and, just get, like, Obi Toppin is jumping and getting balls out of the upper rafter. Like, it's getting stuck where they have to get the broom and knock it out. And he's jumping up and tapping that out. Throw him in there immediately. Andre Jackson is a baby crash out where he is going to dunk on somebody going through the lane, can't hit a three to save his life, but he might smack somebody, he might stack tap somebody. Bring in Draymond to boom, game starts. It's about to be halftime, 2 minutes. It's Draymond Green, and he's got a red jersey. He's not even matching anyone else. He's just there to just hurt somebody. Something. Bring back personalized home and away jerseys. There's easy things to do. You don't have to open up the variation, bring in, we have a third team and a fourth team of reserves. Like, shut up. Just make it five of the best players, their coldest jersey in away or home format, and make it worth something. Put $1 million on the line. Something to get them to play basketball, because they literally have not been for the last 4 years. anything. And that's why I say get those hungry guys that are just electrifying and fun to watch, because then you know what? I might click onto that. You said that Rudy Gobert's in the All-Star game. He's going to get minutes somewhere. Click. Come on now. Appease the people. We don't need to keep doing this. It doesn't have to be like, yeah, they had a great year. Their stats are, their team is, shut up. Who's LaMelo shooting one-legged threes and averaging 30? You heard Ashley? Be real. You want to see Jalen Brunson go in there, go jab, jab, pump fake, hook, foul? No. Not I. Great player, not all-star material. So give me Dame pulling behind half court. Give me Trey throwing lobs from half court. Bring me the Giant. But still, lo and behold, Minnesota's team defense is ranked 1. Rudy Gobert is an all-star over Victor Wembanyama. If I hear that, I'm calling something in. Then we'll have our
Ajax is in the dunk contest, though. I've been trying to say that.
Say it again.
He's in the dunk contest. Ajax.
He is. I'm afraid someone's going to get fought.
Over the dunk contest?
Mac McClung.
If they bring what's my boy's name back, who gave Mac McClung a 9 and ruined my parlay last year? What was old boy's name who shouldn't have ever been a judge of a dunk competition in his life?
Exactly.
I'll find his name. I tweeted it last year. Oh, the hell. Don't bring that man back. Prize picks and play. I'm finding his name.
He hasn't been unhinged for the last 5 minutes. He just out in real time over these.
Is it really an episode if there's not like a Miguel rant toward the end?
It's always toward the end. It's always toward the end.
Where he feels like no fans watch.
Darnell Hillman. If I see you in these streets, oh, buddy, I'm salaried now. Darnell Hillman. Don't ever bring that man back to judge a dunk competition in my life. Unless I want under.
I'm going back to find that clip on Instagram where you said it last year at the All-Star game. Because you said it. You said the same thing. You literally said, if I catch you in these streets.
We're going to have our third instance of what I said earlier. What they did to Anthony Wemby.
Look, walk him down, Gail said.
Right.
Bottom got him with the 380.
Mm-hmm.
Spot him got him with the switchy blicky.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. I can't even.
Of course. I can't wait to see your reaction to the reserves. God forbid somebody gets snubbed from the entire team.
If I see Julius Randle on an all-star reserves list,
that would be insane. In the West, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
In the West, it's not going to happen.
If I see Rudy Gobert on an all-star list,
might happen.
That one's more realistic. We'll see.
Over.
I hate how the voting is just like front court, back court.
Yeah.
Like
positions. Take out the positions.
Yeah.
If it's all 7-footers, too bad, little man. Get some stilts.
Stilts is crazy, dog.
If I see a fundamental player in there.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I see someone that has a pivot in there. Oh, get him out. I need Euros and step throughs.
Euros and step throughs. Ooh, okay. Potential title. But man, no, this is a great time in sports. We got the 2 weeks for the build up to the Super Bowl. Gonna be great. We're approaching the trade deadline and All-Star weekend. Things are getting dicey, juicy, as Ashley would say. But yeah, a lot for us to talk about, a lot for y'all to be updated on, and a lot for Miguel to rant on, as he will typically do.
More rants.
So until the next episode, we will catch y'all next time. Peace.